Slovakia Chronicles, a podcast of information, news and much more of our beloved Slovakia. By Andrea Paolo Mazzucchetti. It's me! Let's start! Hello everyone! Welcome to the 5th episode of Slovakia Chronicle podcast. After talking in the previous episode about the implication of coronavirus in Slovakia, in all the possible ways, I think it's time to talk about something more pleasant. As you noticed lately, everything is going back to normal, or I can say the new normal. In fact, thanks to the new measures, from 6th of May, the government decided to go straight to the third phase, or their reopening plan, skipping the unanswered second phase. If you have no idea of what I'm talking about, have a look on my previous episode where I've presented these measures and much more. In order to celebrate the coming back to normal life, after the lockdown with all its sadness and frustration, I have decided to create a special episode talking about something funny and entertaining, with a special guest that I can consider a master in this field, Hon Chong. So, let's start! Welcome to Slovakia Chronicle to Hon Chong. Is correct how we say it?
Yes, Hon Chong, yes.
Okay. Perfect, because this was also my problem, how can I pronounce it correctly? Because with Slovak, I have no idea about the pronunciation, so I thought there is maybe other language I can make it better. So, thank you very much to be here. You are a creator, a founder of different determined projects like storytelling, story nights, Anilicious Improv Theater, and Society of Art and Culture, right?
Yes, International Society for Arts and Culture.
Perfect. So you are my first guest, so thank you very much. For the people that don't know you, I would like let you space to introduce yourself.
So my name is Han, and I do many things. I am a teacher. I am an actor. I'm an improviser. I am also a storyteller, an artist, and I've started a couple of projects in Bratislava.
Perfect.
Yes, and you mentioned these projects already. So I founded Fundelicious Improv Theater, also Story Nights. It's a live storytelling event, and also ISAC is a non-profit organization where I put all my activities connected to the arts into one organization. ISAC is International Society for Arts and Culture.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, first question that I have is, how did you end up in Slovakia from your country? Really, for me, it's crazy my story, but for sure you are also an interesting one.
We all have very interesting stories, I'm sure. We're all foreigners who are in Slovakia.
Exactly. Why Slovakia, exactly?
So, it started a long time ago. I've been here for 14 years now. Yeah, it's unbelievable, I know. I didn't choose Slovakia, it just happened. At that time, I was in the States, I was living in the States. I spent a lot of time in the States as well. I was born in Malaysia, but I moved to the States when I was very young. And I did my university, my studies, then I worked there. And in my mid-20s, I was going through somewhat of a mid-20 life crisis. I didn't like my job. I didn't feel like my career was going anywhere. My personal life was not great. So I really wanted to change and do something different. Mm-hmm. And I knew I wanted to see Europe more. I wanted to explore different cultures, different countries, and Europe was for me like maybe for a European how they see Asia, mm-hmm. or East Asia.
Yeah.
It's this exoticness and something so different. And I found it in this part of Europe. I mean, I've traveled, of course, around Europe, and it was this part of Europe that really, I don't know, there's something about it. I was in the Czech Republic first. I wanted to stay a little bit, so I started teaching English because I wanted to do something completely different. My background, well, I studied film theater in university, so I have backgrounds in the arts, in performing arts, in filmmaking and TV.
Thanks now with all your activities.
And I never thought I would want to be a teacher, as in to teach English. It was just something I wanted to try. It was part of my adventurous period. And I found out I really love teaching, so that was very surprising for me. So yeah, I started teaching adults in the Czech Republic. I noticed that I learned so much also from my students. I learned so much about their culture and about the country. So I like that environment where I'm constantly learning something new. And from the Czech Republic, I wanted to stay a bit longer there. And it was summer, and at that time I had a job in a language school, and they didn't have lessons during the summer months. And I didn't want to just do nothing for the summer months. And I applied for several short-term summer teaching jobs, and one was in Nitra, Slovakia.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was another job. I think it was Český Krumlov. Yes, Český Krumlov, teaching children, Russian children. So I thought, okay, I'm not so, at that time I wasn't so keen on teaching kids.
Well, yes. It could be impossible to achieve, yes, I imagine.
Yeah, I accepted the job in Nitra. It was only for 2 months, really. And my original plan was to go back to Brno, Czech Republic, after my job. But I, as you see, I completely changed my plan and so on, and moved to Bratislava. So yeah, it happens.
Okay. Talking about improvisation, how you will explain it to a person that have no idea of what is it?
So improvisation, or improv for short, is actually a form of theater, except everything is spontaneous. So the actors create characters, dialogues, scenes spontaneously in front of the audience. And usually they ask for some suggestions at the beginning, and then they just create everything right on the spot. So that's the biggest difference, I would say. But yeah, improvisational theater is a form of theater, but without all the typical things that when you think about theater. You think about the scenery, the stage. You think about the beautiful costumes, maybe.
Why improvisation?
I studied theater in university, and during my studies there, I came across improv as part of my acting classes. At that time, I didn't know much about improvisation. Improvisation was just tools to help actors, to be better at, understanding the characters, to be more spontaneous, and so on. So I didn't think of, at that time, I didn't know that there was the whole Yeah.
And do you think, because I don't know, when I'm thinking about improvisation, I don't know why in my mind to the stand-up comedy, you know, like something funny, something like that you laugh about it. So do you think that this is a good connection with the improvisation? Because I was thinking, I don't know, do something dramatic, the improvisation will be super difficult, or maybe it's not even possible. I don't know.
I think that's a normal connection that people have. Like stand-up comedy and improv. Many people tend to link these two art forms together. I think it's also partly because of the history of improv. You know that improv, there was this history, actually Commedia dell'arte. I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
Correct. Wow.
Commedia dell'arte. I don't know if you know this started in Italy in the 16th, 17th century. I don't remember, but a long time ago. So these actors, they perform on the streets everywhere in markets and so on. So, and it was a form of comedy. They had masks on, and that there were these characters, and so people would watch them, you know, on the streets, and people identify this as a form of comedy, and so that was the start of maybe the influence of improv, modern day improv, and then in the States, an actor and a teacher, acting teacher, Violet Bowen, she started using techniques and games of improvisation in her classroom when she trained actors. So all that, you know, the interconnected stories of how improv started. It was always something connected to comedy. And not to mention, later on, these short form improv games are popular because of this TV show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? And then most people, they see improv as a form of comedy as well, just like stand-up comedy. And the popular, at that time, these improvisers were also comedians, a lot of them. They were very good at, let's say, use funny words. They use puns. They were very quick with one-liners, punchlines. So I guess that's mostly why. And I think also at the beginning I thought it was also just about comedy. It was always funny. It was fun to do improv. It was funny to watch improv. But then I realized the more I learned about this art form and I see what other people are doing, it's not just all comedy. You see people perform improv like 90 minutes or 2 hours, and it's very similar to a play. It's like you're watching a play with characters that are not just funny characters, but very, let's say, a deep, complex characters.
Actually, I would like to see something also like dramatic, like improv, because it would be like, I don't know, crazy. I don't know, me even thinking about something like that. So yes, would be a good experience. And I wanted to ask you something that, I don't know, is something that is also interesting for me, because I just started this like project, I would say, of podcast. How did you create your community? So how you spread the voice of your, I don't know, work around the community in Bratislava or even Slovakia? I know that you have also students from states, United States or other countries. So
yeah, a long time ago, 2014, and that was how I started with the first group of people who wanted to get together once a week and just play, try different improv games and so on. And then from there, I think slowly, you kind of meet new people, or they ask their friends to join, and then we later on we started doing shows, and then when people came to watch the shows, they realized, wow, what's that? And they want to know more, and they want to learn something new. So that was also how we grow the community.
Why a person should learn how to improvise?
First of all, just to accept that things are not always going to be perfect, and that if you make mistakes or if things turn out bad, that's always not the end of the world. I think that helps me so much, because I was so afraid of making mistakes, of trying new things, because I always thought, no, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? And we tend to carry these things with us somehow, probably from our childhood, probably, I don't know, our education system. I don't know, we were punished for not, I don't know, doing something very well or up to the expectations of some people. Or if we fail an exam, as like, then we were punished for it. And so improv really helps me in that, to not see failure as something that will stop me, and I see failure as a way to get people to maybe like what I do. Because in improv, when you make mistakes, that's when people laugh, and then the audience, they're with you, because they really enjoy that you make mistakes. Well,
it is a good thing for the improvisation.
Yeah, but of course you also need to accept that there will be mistakes. If I improvise and I don't enjoy making these mistakes, and the audience, they wouldn't laugh, they wouldn't like it. They would feel like, oh no, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah,
this mistake is the best, the things that make you laugh, like normal.
Yeah, I guess that helps me, and that's just one thing about improv that helps me, and also really to listen to someone, to really listen actively, because very often we think we are listening to people around us, but we are really just listening enough to say what we want to say.
Yeah, connection. Mm-hmm.
And that helps me to not think so far ahead and not really listen to what that person is really saying right now.
Mm-hmm. Something that's also interesting for me is how is the Slovak bureaucracy for creating projects like economical or business projects? Do you find difficulty for you that you are foreigner? How you, create it? Because I think that you have like your community, your like business.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that I make money from improv or from storytelling, because you're not gonna survive doing like performing arts in Slovakia independently.
Well, maybe in need times or to spread the voice even more. Who knows?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's not easy. That's true. So, and it's even more difficult if you do, performing arts in English.
Mm-hmm.
So there are going to be less people joining your, shows or your classes, because many people, they prefer to do improv or maybe acting or theater in Slovak language. I mean, it's understandable, of course, because it's not easy to do this in another language that's not your mother tongue. So because of this, because of the smaller community, and there aren't that many expats in Bratislava. Let's say if I compare this to neighboring cities, Prague or Vienna. I mean, there are more foreigners now living here, but still not as many as in, let's say, Budapest.
Okay.
Yes. And it's very difficult to get funding of any kind from the city or from the regional government or from the country.
Okay.
You probably need to have one person just manage these sort of finance.
The Slovak speaker.
And someone who knows everything about these grants and zero. And I don't have such person, so all my events and shows, activities, they're all just funded by people who come. Their donations sort of funded. So when people buy tickets to the show and so on, so we use that money to pay for either people who perform with us, our guests, guest performers, musician, technician, and sometimes the rent for the theater.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm happy if we just break even.
Okay, so you are doing this for like fun, not for making money, for sure. Okay.
No, I don't. This is not something that I can, let's say, live off. Unfortunately, not yet, but that would be great if actors can do this, can do what they love doing someday.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, like for example, they are saying also the podcast is like many years that are saying that they are going to be like a boom of the podcast at some point, but we are still waiting for this boom coming. So, and here in Slovakia is still also not like so, I don't know, famous as way to communicate. So, I don't even know that they have other podcasts in Slovakia besides mine. So when I started, I thought, wow, I'm the first one. And then I found out there was 2-3 other podcasts, but that's it. If you go in Italy, there are like, I don't know, million of them already. So it's something that is take times. Like,
yeah, I think so, yeah. Keep going.
Okay. And I wanted to ask also something, because now we are going deep on about your project, because this is something that I would like to that people know about about your activities. How do you come out with the idea of the storytelling, about the story nights, actually, more than the storytelling?
Yes. So when I was still living in the States, with this very popular radio show called The Moth Stories. And The Moth is very big. It's a big organization, I think, based in New York. And that time they also had radio shows where they played like so every show there was a theme, and there were different storytellers telling stories that are connected to the theme. And I really love that show. And because I studied film and TV, so for me, I love stories. It's always been an interest of mine. And my storytelling is very different because it's very personal, especially when you tell true stories. And I really miss that. So when I came to Slovakia, of course, there was a period, in my life where there was nothing creative happening around that period besides, my teaching. So I learned a lot about teaching and so on. But I really missed the arts, like theater. I really miss all these, performing arts, like storytelling and acting and improvisation. And I was thinking, okay, I really miss this. And so I had to travel to different cities around Europe just to experience, theater. Like I would go to Vienna, there's the English theater there, or go to London. And after some time, I thought, why don't I just start something here? So then there is this community, right? Creative community of performers, and to start a local art scene for locals and foreigners as well. So that I don't have to travel to Vienna.
The war.
Yeah. And I wanted, like, if I wanted culture, I had to go to Vienna at that time. And I mean, Bratislava has changed a lot. So now you see there are so many events now, right? But when I came 14 years ago, Bratislava was a very different city.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah. So I'm happy that things are changing in Bratislava. So that's a good thing.
Changing very fast, actually. Even I notice now the difference, even from me that I'm here from just 4 years, I noticed from like 4 years ago and now is completely different. So imagine 14 years or 10 years even is like completely another country.
Yes.
Well, yes. Let's see what is going to be the future. I see like I think it's the place to stay, no? So because it seems that is like everything is happening here, no? Like there is a lot of like a business development lately, so let's hope that it's continuing like this. Now, as last part, I would like to do like an exercise together because I'm participating to your lesson, so I know like some of them, but I would like to show if people will watch for sure, I don't know, we can do something even without video for the podcast itself. Something I show to the people how is improvising, like from scratch. So do you have an exercise to propose, like to try just an easy one?
Yeah. Let's try a bit of improv together. Okay. We can talk about the basic, let's say, rule. I try not to think of it as a rule, but it's like a guideline for improvisers when we perform. Because there's no script, there's no director, everything is created spontaneously. So there are certain things or skills we learn in order to be able to perform improv. And there are some, let's say, improv rules that we follow. These are the foundational rules, basic rules. And one is to accept offer and to add your idea to the offer. This is pretty much the first thing you learn when you learn improv. Yeah. And we can try this activity. And I think it's really good for people who are listening and they want to know more about improv. Also to learn this. Yeah, and we can play a short game. Yeah. And we're gonna have 3 types of conversations, right? So improv, we want to accept an offer, so we say yes to the offer, and then we add our offer to it, to the idea. We add our idea to whatever our partner gave us, and this is the end part, like yes and. But before we do that, I think it's maybe better if we start with what if that other person says no to us all the time, right? What happens? Can we do improv if someone doesn't accept any offer? All right, so this is the no conversation. So let's say we are planning our holiday, yeah. So we're going. Where would you like to go, Andrea?
I don't know. I want to go to Portugal this summer if I manage.
Cool. I was in Lisbon this year, in January with my parents. Very nice. Yeah. So let's say we're planning our holiday together now. We're going to Portugal, right?
Okay.
And I'm just gonna offer ideas and so on about our holiday, and all you have to do is just say no to everything.
Okay.
Okay. Hey Andrea, let's book this really, really good holiday package I found for Lisbon. It's really cheap and only 200 euros in flights and hotel. Let's book that.
No.
Okay. Let's just find our own hotel then.
No. I'm thinking no. It's not a good idea.
Okay. I can pay for your hotel.
No. Why you have to pay?
Okay, how about you choose a hotel?
No, I'm not good to choosing. No, I will be confused. No.
Okay. Okay, so I will pay for the hotel and the flights.
No, you paying, then I have to feel guilty because you paid. No.
I'm happy to pay for everything. I can even give you my credit card. Here, take my credit card.
No, and then if you have some other cost, you charge me for everything.
Yeah, okay, good. So that was the no conversation.
Good.
Yeah. How was it for you?
Well, it's not that easy if to find an excuse to say no continuously. At some point, okay, you have to say yes to something, no? So I don't know. For me, it's difficult to say no. So in general, so usually I'm the yes man. So, but still.
What do you mean when you say you're usually the yes man?
Because I don't know, I like to say yes to everything that is coming, no? So I don't know if somebody is proposing something, I'm willing to try something, no? So why is to say no? No? So I don't have, and because if I don't try, I don't know if I will like it. So I will consider everything, and then say my opinion. Like no, I don't like it. Yes, or no. If I don't say no, like because that.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think for many people, myself included, very often we tend to not accept something that we find, I don't know, because we're worried there might be risks or something is like, oh no, it's not, we're not sure where this might go, so we tend to say no to stay safe.
Yeah.
But the exercise was just to show like what happens, when that person just refuses everything. As you see, nothing happens, and we're not going anywhere. Right? When the person says no, so we can try another type of conversation. It's yes, but. It's a yes, but conversation. So you say yes, and then you add but to it.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. That's right.
Okay, let's switch role a bit. So now you make offers. So we're still going on our holiday, right? We're planning to go to Portugal. So now I'll let you make some offers, and then all I say is I say yes, and then I say but.
Okay, and then I will try to reply.
And then make another offer, and so on and so on.
Okay. So Hon, I have a fantastic idea. I would like to do a trip of Portugal, starting from Porto and going to Faro. What do you think about that?
Yes. Yeah, sounds really nice, but I don't have money for such trip.
But I can contribute to your expenses.
Yes, but I don't like people paying for me.
Don't worry, I will pay and then you will return it on.
Yes, but I don't know when I'm ever going to have money.
Don't worry, I will find a way to make it like in the future.
Yes, but what if there's not gonna be future?
So you don't even worry about the money, no? In this case.
Yes, but I don't feel good about not knowing when I can pay you back.
So we can set a date, for example, in 1 year.
Yes, but I don't like such short plans.
Okay, so we can make 2 weeks of planning.
Oh, yes, but I find 2 weeks to be too short. All right, yay, okay.
10 days.
Yeah. So how was it this time around?
Well, to be to the other side, also come with like other proposal, also not so like easy, I would say.
Yeah. It was probably very similar to no conversation.
Yeah, you see that the people is like interested, but you not find a way to find a common way anyhow. So it's like no at the end.
Yeah. At the end, it's like, it sounds nice, but then it's a no.
It's a nice way to say no.
Yeah. So if you're in an improv scene, then also this is not going anywhere, and we have to also find a way, not to only do this. Maybe it's funny, like first 2 sentences. So let's try another version. Okay, this time we're just gonna say yes, because people always think that saying yes is the same as saying yes and. Because when you say yes, you accept, right? But is that enough to just say yes? We'll find out. And so this time I'm gonna make offer. So we're still going to Portugal. We're not going anywhere yet. All right, Andrea. So I have this great to go to this island, Portuguese island, Madeira, and we can backpack. And I heard it's amazing for hiking trips. We can do that next month. Okay, and I'm thinking we can bring our own tent so we can sleep in camps or wherever.
Yes, this is really cool. Yes, I like it.
And we can maybe bring our own cooking utensils so we can prepare food and save money, and we can just cook whatever, cheap.
Yes, I like to go on budget.
Yeah, yes, and we can take our bikes. We can even go biking.
Yes, activity is cool, sport activity.
Yes, and we can also bring just one bag, so it's lighter. We just share one bag.
Yes, definitely, we can make it. Yes.
Yeah, and we can share clothes as well, just to make everything lighter.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
Can even share underwear.
Yes. Why not?
Okay. All right, yay.
Yes, I was thinking, what other phrase I can use about besides yes?
Yeah. So how was it for you when you just said yes and not even adding ideas? Was it similar to?
It was really difficult to not add any ideas, like to say, I don't know, to share other ideas or end this end part. Just say yes. You feel like a robot.
Yeah. So as you see, it's not enough to just say yes, because sometimes we think that when you do yes and, it means you have to accept all ideas, and it's not true, because yes and means you also take the risk with your partner, because you're adding your ideas to it too. So you're also invested in the whole situation.
Yeah, exactly. Without getting feedback, I don't know.
Yeah. What happened earlier, it was more like, okay, sure, I'll do it if you like. So you just yes, yeah, okay, yes, yeah, sure, okay.
That way, like to cut the conversation.
Right.
Yes, okay, yes. Don't bother.
Yeah. It's pretty much very similar to just like, okay, you do what you like. I'll just.
That is what I was feeling.
Yeah.
I was trying to add something, but still I couldn't do it.
So now we can try yes and conversation. So accept the offer, and then you say and you add your idea based on the idea you receive from your partner, and then we'll see what happens. All right. So you start this time. We're still going to Portugal.
Portugal. I know everything about Portugal. So, I have a fantastic idea. Why not to go, for example, to Lisbon and take a car and travel all around Portugal?
Yeah, that sounds. And we can use bed and breakfast, this private bed and breakfast at night, and we just stop whenever we feel like we want to stay in that place for a day or two.
Yes, and we can stay for 1 week. So I think 1 week is enough to visit all the Portugal, because it's quite a small country.
Yes, and we can actually do a lot of things within that week. Like we go biking, we can go running, swimming, hiking.
Yes, totally agree. And also there are a lot of touristical places to visit in Porto, in Lisbon, also in Faro. So it would be like sported and cultural.
Yeah, and we can go to pubs at night, and we drink the local drinks, and then we sing karaoke and go dancing.
Yes, definitely. And then the next day we can sleep a bit more, and then we can go to, I don't know, bicycling or to swim.
Yeah. And we go like and then go there coast, looking for deserted places where there are not many tourists.
Yes, and also then we can even touch also Spain, to go a little bit in Spain, I don't know, Malaga, like continue.
Yeah, that's great. And why stop at Malaga? Because since we will have the boat, we can just keep sailing. Yeah, so like go around like the whole peninsula down to Gibraltar. Yeah, or boat, so we can see even more.
Yes, and also we can go to this Balearic island like Ibiza, Formentera. They are very fancy.
Yeah, and then we can swim naked there because there won't be any people, and then we can maybe smoke marijuana, swim naked, smoke marijuana, and barbecue on this island.
Basically, we can go all around Europe. We start from Portugal when we arrive to the other part. It's super cool. Now, this is, I say that is easier because you can really add and feel like more human. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. How did you feel about like adding your ideas?
Yeah, I feel like not a robot like before, like just saying yes, yes, yes. Even no, like was like even more like for me it was terrible to say no. But yes, I feel better. Oh, yes, more comfortable, like adding ideas because I feel like you are like I taking care of what you are saying first, and then I'm rather contributing to something. No,
Yes.
not just passive way to like, take everything.
Which conversation was more fun than you enjoyed more?
I will enjoy more the yes and part. It's more my type of conversation. So yeah, this one for sure.
Did you find it was also the happiest type of conversation?
Yeah. I like it more. Yes, definitely. Besides the no one was the worst one for me. Then we can like go in like yes but and then yes and no yes and then yes and so.
Yeah. The funny thing is also this applies to everyday conversation. If we talk to someone who says no to us a lot, we tend to not have a very good relationship with that person.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if we have people who accept our ideas and then add their ideas to our ideas, when we talk, there's always a feeling like we're somehow able to connect and understand each other. Rather than having to like defend your ideas, like justify why you say this or why you do this.
Well, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and that is something I guess we all can benefit from.
Yeah.
Even though
win conversation, I don't understand.
Yeah, even though it's something improvisers practice for the stage, but it's so relevant for everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yes. Perfect. So wow, I was checking the hour, but it's like 1 hour. It's flying like in 1 second. So
yeah, you have a lot to edit.
Was super cool. And so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And for your work also, like for your contribution to the foreign here in Bratislava. So really appreciate your work.
Thank you.
See you soon. In theory, with this lockdown will finish. It will be easier to meet in person. So
yeah,
we in touch.
yeah. So hopefully soon.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for having me here on the show.
Thank you for participating. And also this episode is finished. Guys, you can find all the links in the description of this episode about Hon initiatives for more information. Thank you for being part of the Slovakia Chronicle podcast and stay safe.